President Biden made history today. He not only changed the trajectory of our country's politics, but he also secured his own legacy. And I think this must have been an incredibly difficult decision. It's something that probably none of us could understand without having gone through it ourselves. But President Biden made the right call. And I think that we saw a number of Democrats, in the days leading up to this decision, suggest that he terminated his candidacy, and that must have been hard to hear. But I think President Biden decided that he needed to put the country first, he needed to put the party first, and that the most important thing was defeating former President Trump this November. And I think he concluded rightly that he wasn't the best candidate to do so. I think that they're happy that President Biden made the decision that he did. There is a lot of anxiety that he might continue with his candidacy, and most people thought we were headed toward disaster. So I think there is a lot of celebration, as well as genuine respect and gratitude for President Biden for his legacy and his accomplishments and making this tough decision. At the same time, while it's not certain that the nominee will be Vice President Harris, she certainly starts off with a strong position. But I think how she starts the campaign is going to be very important. And I think that Vice President Harris should begin with a dose of humility, because humility is such a rare commodity in politics and it goes a long way. We happen to have an incredible class of governors. Governor Whitmer in Michigan would be terrific. Governor Newsom in California, and then Governor Beshear in Kentucky, and then the new governors, Governor Moore and Governor Shapiro in Maryland and Pennsylvania. All of them, I think, would make fantastic choices. But there are also a number of credible and great picks that are in the Senate. One in particular is Senator Kelly. The interesting thing about the delegates is that at best, they're honor bound to support who they're supposed to support. In this case, since President Biden has announced he's not running, they are free in every sense of the word to get behind whoever they choose. So what we will see is, this is an unprecedented process, at least in recent history. And we will see a process by which these delegates will have to choose who will be the Democratic nominee. And it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time if you're one of these delegates, because all of a sudden you have what used to be a pro forma activity now is of major historical consequence. I think that in general, endorsements don't matter as much as we all think that they do. They make for good stories, but they don't really matter that much. However, this is an exception, because I think in this case, they actually matter a great deal. What Vice President Harris needs to do over the next few days is coalesce and unify the party behind her. And the way she signals that she's done that is by getting endorsements from people like the Clintons, obviously people like President Biden, but others who will no doubt come out in the next few days. So we'll see if by Wednesday, the vast majority of senators, House members, and governors have gotten behind her, then there's really no path for a Gavin Newsom or someone else to challenge her for the nomination. It is absolutely a race against time. She needs to be on the phone. I imagine she's on the phone as we speak, and I imagine she'll be making calls throughout the rest of the night. And that's exactly what she needs to be doing. She needs to lock down that early support and close off any other paths that someone else could have to challenge her for the nomination. He is underperforming with Black voters, with Latino voters. He was underperforming with white working class voters. I think he was doing well with older voters, but underperforming with younger voters. So I think we have to look at all of those constituencies and figure out how can we reach them. I think inside they were tackling these very difficult questions about President Biden's abilities at his age. There's no question in his mind or in anyone's mind that a healthy Joe Biden would not just be superior to a President Trump, but would beat President Trump again. Biden beat him once. A healthy Joe Biden would beat him again. The question was whether or not Biden right now is the same healthy version he was in 2020. And he decided that he was not. And as I said, that was the right call for the party and it was the right call for the country.